Zen Yoga, a creative psychotherapy to self-integration by P.J. Sahir. Introduction. The laws of spiritual success. With the help of practices explained in the following pages, one can attain within a few years a stage of development for which mankind would need an illuminatably long period spreading over countless incarnations on the slow spiral of evolution. The silence of these systematic psychological practices we call Zen Yoga. The dominating aim of Zen Yoga is concentration of the mind through a better understanding of the metaphysiology of brain structures. To start with, we may consider the mind as a functional system of extremely subtle vibrations called rotations, which for convenience we divide into 4 sections. Section 1 is the part nearest allied to the anatomical brain, while Section 4 we look upon as nearest allied to the soul or Atman. Between Section 1, Citta, and Section 4, Atman, we have Section 3, governing the realm of extrasensory perception. In Section 2, the latter is further subdivided so that Section 2 alone has the peculiarity of having 2 subsections, Section 2a and Section 2b. Subsection A of Section 2 is very closely allied to the body's, or rather the brain's, reticular activating system, RAS for short, situated in a cone-shaped maze of nerves in the brainstem. Subsection A intercepts the flow of information coming up from a physical body before such impulses of information enter the thalamus for further distribution to the decision-making regions of the cortex. It is therefore in a position to modify or tone down or accentuate or tone up the different message impulses as it chooses. It can, because it has profuse neural connections with the hypothalamus, channel reports of bodily disorders, example, indigestion, toothache, directly to the latter without consulting to the conscious mind. All unconscious physiological activity of a body, example digestion, breathing, falls under the domain of subsection A. Thus we are not aware of its constant and complicating guiding of the work of digestion in our belly, unless and until something goes wrong. There we become aware of the effort involved because we become conscious of it. This being conscious of it, we then call a bellyache. Without subsection A, all life would be one long stomach and bellyache. Subsection 2b is the part of the mind which enables us to concentrate, meditate, receive intuitions from on high. In fact, it is so utterly different from Section 1 and subsection A of Section 2 that we are justified in saying that between Section 1 plus Section A of Section 2 plus and Section 4, 3 plus 2b plus there is a very wide gulf. This gulf, running like a river separating 2 subcontinents, is called, in Zen Yoga, no man's land. Concentration of mind, in the true sense of the word, begins on the other side of no man's land. That is, in subsection B of Section 2 and onwards, spiritual discipline means, according to Zen Yoga, the voluntary yet purposeful development of Section 1, which is subsection A of section 2 need no longer be counted as its functions are exclusively of a physiological nature. To the stage when we are capable of crossing over no man's land to subsection B of section 2 and thus to the higher sections. That stage is known as Zen Yoga, as the critical certain stage, or CCS for short. Our task in Zen Yoga is to reach the critical certain stage. From there on, spiritual progress is automatic and effortless, quite free of do's and don'ts. Thus, we leave aside the higher section for this time, being and confine ourselves to the lower sections, which in effect means section 1 or the anatomical brain. All the 4 sections of mind are coordinated as one integral whole by means of psychic quartermasters in key positions. They are known in Zen Yoga as centers. There are 7 centers distributed over the function in the 4 sections of the brain. The first 4 of these 7 are situated in section 1, the 5th in section 2, including both subsections, the 6th in section 3, and the 7th in section 4. To make it more characteristic, Zen Yoga calls the 7th center the Senior Managing Director. If we imagine every person to be a joint stock company complete in itself, the 6th center, Junior Managing Director, the 5th center, General Manager, and the 4th center in section 1 as departmental heads or divisional directors. More seriously, the 7 centers are Integrity Center 1, Emotivity Center 2, Sensuosity Center 3, Mobility Center 4. All 4 of them centers I, E, S and M are in section 1. Intuitional Center in section 2, which is the 5th center. The 6th center is Paramental Center in section 3. The 7th and the last, the highest center is the Transcendental Center in section 4. We will here describe in short at least the first 4 centers before passing on. First, center means integrity through intellectual, introspection, for short, integrity. Thus, first, center means rational reflection consciously and conscientiously done. Its aim is knowledge through a balanced mind as well as decisions arising therefrom. This center is known in Sanskrit as Iha, or the will to know, meaning the conscious and programmed analysis undertaken with a view to acquire exact or integer knowledge of a thing, problem, or situation solely or predominantly by means of unbiased reasoning. This center governs all which is yoga or Vedanta falls under the heading of sattva. The first center is that hypothetical spot in the brain which consciously commands, reasons and guides our thinking. E or center mass, evocation of emotions, for short, emotivity. Thus, E-center means the focus or the point to which the emotion keeps all attention riveted. In other ways, the ability or propensity of the emotions to corner or divert attention to them. It is that hypothetically, this spot in the brain which arouses all spontaneous feelings, spontaneous and even unnoticed or semi-conscious reactions of feelings. The domain of various emotions and passions, including irrational beliefs, passionately held attachments and aversions, all forms of diverse and even contradictory feelings, fancies, whims, tendencies, subconscious inclinations, all decision not carefully debated as to pro and contra in a balanced way beforehand. All on the spur of the moment decisions, later regretted as one knew that all probability they would be later on regretted. All general unexplained, even unexplainable, likes and dislikes. This center governs all which in yoga or Vedanta falls under the heading of rajas, also known as the activity or activity begin or continued on the initiative of one or more emotions. This center, as we call it in Sanskrit, ikayana, the focus, emotions tend to focus all attention on themselves. S center mass, the sensual vitality, for short, sensuosity. Thus, S center means the spot in the brain which commands the reflexes, reflex movements, subconscious, impulsive acts, also called motor movements or reactions, arising from concealed memory of man's evolutionary past, atavistic perversities, or reflexes conditioned therefrom. This region favors decision made not only against one's better judgment, but also against one's own natural likes and dislikes. Decisions, as if forced upon one, driven to it, drives, born out of an insatiable thirst, example, drugs, sex, etc., or a seemingly irresistible impulse. I couldn't help it. I just had it. I must. Decision made by the blood, as it were. All uncontrollable urges, genuinely insatiable longings, as if strange force thrusted its decision on one, using him or her merely as an instrument of craving. This center governs all which is Yoga Vedanta falls under the heading of tamas, that is, dullness of wit, brute stupidity, intelligence made inert through inertia, inactivity of reasoning. In Sanskrit, the word sat means being, yet also vitality as a characteristic of being, vitality as the potential energy of being, vitality as asleep or hidden in every being. Thus, in every human being, there are untold reservoirs of vitality or vital energy untapped. The S center depicts vitality divorced from reason and devoid of feelings. M center, mobility of muscular assorted movements for the mobile. In other ways, continuing. Execution of decision, for short, mobility. Thus, M center means that spot in the brain which combines the aforementioned thoughts, feelings, and reflexes to form a specific decision. It is like a mathematician. It counts or reads the varying intensities in the first three centers, either totally up the sum of rotating units of vibration in the intensities, if they be all of one kind, in other ways all plus or all minus, or striking a balance. It favors the side, center or pair of centers having the highest score of vibration, be it pulse,